What am I drinking today? Got a can of Monster. Aussie lemonade. I'd say it's my favorite kind of Monster. I mean the flavor, right? It tastes good. I haven't tried all of them. I like the sugary Monsters, I don't like the sugar-free Monsters there. I won't drink any sugar-free drinks because I don't like how it makes me feel. I always feel like the last time I had a sugar-free can of Monster, I just started getting I started pumping like really crazy. So I always stick with the sugar. And then, I need the sugar, I need the energy because I'm God. Everyone wants to steal my energy. Yeah? So I spend all my time trying to protect my energy. Anyways, got a cigarette. Can smoke that as well. Probably not so good for my energy levels, but yeah. Anyway, I thought I'd pull some tarot cards. I've got quite a nice deck here. It's called Eldritch Overload, I think. Yeah, Eldritch Overload. I found it on Amazon probably like a year ago or something like that. I've got so many tarot decks. I mean, I've got about £3,000 or £4,000 worth of tarot decks. Probably. Well, it's at least £2,000, I'll tell you that much. I've got stacks of cards all over the place. Yeah, so I thought I'd just pull some cards. How many? I don't know. So, now you have to understand that I'm God. When I'm pulling the cards are talking about me most of the time, or how I fit into because that's the thing. I'm God. I'm spirit. So when I shuffle, the story is a lot of the time it's about me. Most of the time it is about me. Whereas other tarot readers, they don't experience that because they're not spirit. I'm spirit. I'm God. They don't know how to read the cards properly because they don't recognize truth when they see it. It's easy to shuffle cards, pull out a card, and then say something completely out of line with truth. Yeah, it's very easy to pull out any card and you say whatever you feel like saying, and people accept it. The thing is, if you're surrounded with evil spirits, if evil spirits are telling you what to say, then people might hear it, what you say, and they might think, oh wow, that resonates with me. Yeah, well, it's because evil spirits are yapping away. That's why. I'm God. I know I have a lot of experience with tarot and the truth. I am the truth. It took me a long time to really figure out what these cards really, really mean. But anyway, it's nothing I've already explained it, but many times. Anyway. Okay, so pull some cards. first card, we've got Three of Swords. Okay, Three of Swords. So there's a heartbreak situation, isn't there? You know, there's someone, you know, this is talking about heartbreak. And of course, I'm God. My heart is broken because the world breaks my heart. But of course, this Three of Swords, is it talking about me? Is it talking about you? Is it talking about somebody else? But we'll find out, won't we? No, I've got two cards. Got a Knight of Swords. If you can see that. It's really hard to see. There you go. Knight of Swords. So, the Knight of Swords. Okay, so the Knight of Swords is, well, obviously that card, you know, these are cyberpunk cards, right? So, what is that? It's like some sort of bird. It's like, I don't know, is it supposed to be a penguin? I think it's like a penguin in a, you know, dressed in clothes with wings and a sword. So the wings sort of, you know, suggest, it's got like angel wings. It's suggesting that, well, that's the thing. So, you know, the Knight of Swords is, you know, normally it's a horse rider, yeah. So in the normal Rider-Waite deck, that's someone riding a horse with a sword in their hand, and the sword is about logic. It's what you're thinking, and it's how you're communicating as well. So the Three of Swords, the heartbreak, combined with the messaging, the way people, you know. So the Knight of Swords is communicating, thinking, and there's the heartbreak idea that goes along with it, right? Because so the heartbreak, right? Because people talk shit, right? People talk a load of garbage. People yap, about stuff they don't really know about. And talking about things they don't really know about, well, here's the next card. Okay, so there's the Nine of Potions. So that's a Nine of Cups. Okay. So the Nine of Cups, yeah, you know, there's that woman behind the counter. She looks happy. She's by herself, right? Which is interesting because she's selling something, right? Right. So you know, there's there's the heartbreak, the Three of Swords, Knight of Swords, Nine of Cups. So you know that suggests that someone's heartbroken and someone's happy. You know, is that one person? Is that singular? Is that plural? I'm God. I'm unhappy with people who, you know, there's so many people on YouTube who, you know, they want to say Spirit has messages for you, and I'm gonna tell you what Spirit's saying, and Spirit's saying this, and Spirit's saying that. Thank you, Spirit. I fucking love you, Spirit. But the thing is, I'm God. I am the Holy Spirit in a sense. Well, I am God. I am the Holy Spirit. But the thing is, the tricky thing is the word holy or holy, right? Because obviously you can twist that word, right? Are you listening to a whore, or are you listening to, you know, are you thinking about holes, you know, that you want to stick something in or whatever, you know what I mean? Like demons twist it because that's how they do their deception. Um, so um, yeah, interesting that, isn't it? Because it says Circle Thay. Okay, my dead mom, her name was Fee. Um, Potions for a price, right? She's selling potions, right? And there's an energy drink thing. And so, see, the thing is that the world wants to take my energy because I am the source of energy. And so, if I'm drinking Aussie lemonade energy drink, well, some Aussie people are gonna be like feeling all energized, right? They're trying to, that's how it works, right? It's the words that really matter because I am the word. I'm God, and the human race has, ever since the human race was given words to use, my power. That's the thing. Humans are blessed with my power, my energy, through words. And obviously, the word itself, whatever word is used, it has different effects. But of course, language is very confused, and so people have varying results with the words that they use because it's a complicated confusion that you have to be guided through in order to be successful, I suppose. Yeah. Anyways, I didn't want to make this a long video. So, do some more cards here, okay? So there's a channel. So there's an Australian guy. He has a channel called Chosen 144. I'll speak about him because it's very interesting. He's so my name is Grant Salvin. That my surname is Salvin. Now the Australian guy, and we're having a very interesting magic battle, I suppose you could say, right? I post his videos on Facebook, and it's changing how he's behaving. It's changing how I am controlling him, basically. But the fact is, I'm God, and the Australian guy, and his name, by the way, is Salvatore Vecchio. Right? That's spelled Salvatore. Surname Vecchio. He has about 55,000 subscribers on YouTube. And he has a wife who has her channel, and it's called Light144, where she does all sort of guided meditations and stuff like that. Now the thing is that they don't believe in Jesus Christ. They don't love Jesus Christ. They think that's bullshit. That's what they think. That's what they claim. That's what Salvatore claims, right? So he is an antichrist in that sense, right? So he's against me. I'm God. I was Jesus Christ. Now, And the thing is that obviously his channel is called Chosen 144. Well, where does that come from? They claim like, oh yeah, it's all about being in the 144 hertz or kilohertz or whatever it is, right? The 144, it's all about the sound frequency. It's all about frequency, raising your vibration, so you can get to that, that sort of heavenly vibration, right? They think that, having negative feelings, so if someone who's depressed, that means that means you're in a low vibration. So that means that you're going to suffer. So you have to you have to get rid of those low vibrational energies and raise your frequency, and then everything will feel fucking great, and it's like you're in fucking paradise. That's the idea behind what they say. And obviously, so if you're not aware, I would hope you'd be aware, but in the book of Revelation, in the Bible, it talks about the 144,000 who are taken as first fruits, I suppose. Those who were not virgins, they were virgins who were not defiled with woman. And it's 12,000 from the 12 tribes of Israel, pretty much. Although there are some, yeah. Anyways, it's listed in the Book of Revelation. Okay. So, there's basically, so the story is that there's a man. He's standing. He looks like the Son of Man. He's standing on top of Mount Zion, and then there's the 12,000. There's the 144,000. That's pretty much the story. Okay. So so why has Salvatore chosen his channel name as Chosen 144, and his wife, her channel is Light 144? They don't believe in Jesus. They don't believe in God. Yet they want that energy, right? They want that energy because they're energy vampires, right? They want they want my energy. Now, it's really interesting because, yeah. Well, there's lots of magic around the 144 number. Half of that number, if you split that number in two, you get the number 72. Okay? 72, in Jewish mysticism, they have created a list of 72 names of God, and it's used for magic purposes. I'm God. There's only one of me. Okay? There's me, and that's it. Yeah. So, anyway, let me pull some more cards. So I've got the Three of Swords, the Knight of Swords, and the Nine of Cups. Okay? So carry on. I should tell you what. I'll start a new reading, okay? Sorry, maybe we get a bit more. Is that better? It's a bit more light, isn't it? Okay. First card. Got the Queen of Potions. So she's the Queen of Cups. Okay? The Queen of Cups, well, she's supposed to be a loving, caring, nurturing type of woman. But just because, you were born under the star sign Pisces or Scorpio or Cancer, that does not make you a nurturing, caring, or type of woman, does it? Or person. It doesn't. It just happens that you were born under that sign. It's all sorcery and magic. That's what it's really all about. Oh, the Knight of Swords. Okay, so there's the Knight of Swords again. Okay, so the Queen of Cups, Knight of Swords. So, or the Queen of Potions, right? Knight of Swords. Well, the thing is that the world breaks my heart. They choose to worship other people. And the thing about that is so much witchcraft has been done against me in order to steal my energy and my the water. The world wants to deprive me of love and emotion, and in magic, that's water, right? So the world wants, the world really enjoys and is very happy when I'm miserable. So okay. So anyway, Queen of Cups, Knight of Swords. And then we got the Two of Coins. So the Two of Coins, a lot of people say this is balance. It's a juggling. It's a juggling. It's a juggling. It's a mixing. It can be sleeping around a lot of the time. And then we got the Eight of Wands. If you can see that. So that's the Eight of Wands. So that's moving quickly towards something. It can mean other things as well. I mean, the tricky thing about the Eight of Wands is, well, 8 is food, right? If you eat something in the past, it's what you ate. And a wand is a stick of fire, right? And a lot of people do sodomy. So it can also be talking about sodomy as well. And then we got the Nine of Coins, Nine of Pentacles. Get some more cards. Queen of Swords. And then we got Eight of Potions. Eight of Cups, and then we got the King of Swords. Yeah. So, Queen of Cups, Knight of Swords, Two of Pentacles, Eight of Wands, Nine of Coins, Queen of Swords, Eight of Cups, King of Swords. Now, obviously I mentioned, about, I said, I'm God and the world wants to deprive me of water. Well, that's the idea of the Eight of Cups. The Eight of Cups is someone walking away from cups, which represent water, right? So, It's and that's the thing, right? Because if you eat something, you're not drinking, right? That's the magic behind the card, because um, what you're eating, you're not drinking, are you? That's why the Eight of Cups is someone walking away from water. That's why, because it's the Eight of Cups. All right, you don't eat cups, do you? So, although I remember when I was a kid, my cousin, he had a glass with ice in it, and he was chewing on the ice, and he bit through the glass. Anyway, whatever. I wonder why. So, this is basically saying the Queen of Cups, Knight of Swords. You see, because that's the thing, right? Because there are all these tarot readers and who, like Salvatore, they're surrounded by evil spirits. They want to communicate. That's the thing. He's evil. Really, I mean, well, you know what I mean. Well, yeah. He doesn't know what he's messing with. He doesn't know who he's messing with. I'm God. Messing with me is a terrible idea. But anyway, the Queen of Cups. So, you see, man, he wants to look to woman, right? He wants to look at woman and think, oh, that's where I'm going to get my water from. That's where I'm going to get my loving, nurturing emotions from. That's where I find love, right? But the thing is, I'm God, right? So I said I would, you're supposed to have a loving relationship with me. I'm supposed to come first. I'm God. But man doesn't want that. So Queen of Cups, right? So Queen of Cups and Queen of Cups, and that she's got her Knight of Swords, and they're all happy together, talking shit together. Two of Pentacles, yeah, it's just basically just mixing truth with lies, and Eight of Wands, the Nine of Coins, so it's that the Nine of Coins is someone who's independent, wealthy, someone who's happy with their money, basically. And they've got the Queen of Swords. So the Queen of Swords, the woman, she wants to be the authority figure. She wants to communicate. And then there's the Queen of Swords. There's this Eight of Cups. You see, the Queen of Swords, she doesn't want, she wants to be the authority figure. And God, well, she doesn't like God being the authority figure, right? The King of Swords, I'm God, the King of Swords, right? Eight of Cups, there's no water for the King of Swords, right? And, I have to do the same thing back to her, right? I have to say to the Queen of Swords, there's no water for you from me. I'm not giving you any. Because you wouldn't give me any. You let me dehydrate and die, basically. Anyway. Yeah. This isn't, oh, I want you to feel sorry for me. Well, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of telling you how I feel in the hopes that you will actually hear what I say and think, oh, okay, let's treat him better. No, because it never seems to work, does it? So, I'm bored. I'm tired of doing it. Yeah. I'm really tired of it. I'm God. At the end of the day, if everybody wants to die, that's the thing. I am the way to life. So, if you can't accept that, then you die. things will never get better for you unless you accept me. If you can't accept me, then it's a dead end. I would like my life to improve in this lifetime. If it doesn't, well, that's the thing, you know, if nobody ever listens to me, then I'll move. You know, I that's the thing, I'm God, I live forever. I don't need you. You need me. That's the situation. You either accept it or you don't. So, another thing I wanted to mention, you know, talking about energy, right? So, you know, it's really interesting. You have all these people, they talk about, oh, you got to ground your energy. You got to go outside. You got to, you know, take off your shoes and your socks and, you know, put your feet in on the dirt and ground your energy. Ground your energy. Well, this is the thing. I'm God. My energy is my energy. Okay, it's not the fucking ground. Right? It's not the ground. Now the interesting thing is that I used to be, well, I am an IT guy. I'm a technology. You know, I used to build computers. And I was a network engineer. I used to work. I had different jobs working in IT. My last IT job, I was third line support at the NHS. And the thing is that I work with, you know, I used to work, and I do work with it sometimes. I use grounding cables. You know, I use a grounding wrist strap. You know, I've probably got it around here. In fact, it's down. Yeah, I can see it from here. But anyway, it's all dusty, whatever. But you know, it's got an anti-static wrist strap, and so, you know, it's like a blue wrist strap, and it connects with a plug to the mains outlet. So to an electrical outlet, and it has a grounding pin. So if I'm working on a computer, any static electricity that builds up because of, you know, friction on my clothes or whatever, it gets the anti-static wrist strap takes care of that problem because it grounds me. And I remember when I first used one of those, I would have been, I guess I would have been a teenager. So all this, you know, yibbering and yabbering about, all this talk about ground your energy, ground your energy, ground your energy, ground your energy, you know, go outside, take your shoes off, put your feet in the ground, in the mud, whatever, right? Ground your energy. It's all people, you know, these are people who want to, you know, they want to take a straw, right? And they want to stick it in my pool of energy and go, that's basically what they want to do. Yeah, that's all it is. You know, it's the same thing with me buying Aussie lemonade. You know, that Salvatore guy, I didn't know, I'd never seen him on YouTube as a tarot reader before. And recently, the place where I order my Monster from, I buy it from the co-op. I get it delivered by Just Eat, and they put the prices up for a while, and I ended up buying individual cans instead of the original 4-can box. And so I started getting some of these delivered from them. I don't normally drink these very often because, well, if I go to the shop, if I actually go shopping myself, I will probably buy them, but if they've got them in stock. But, you know, anyways, I bought a can, like, I don't know, was it 2 weeks ago? A week ago, 2 weeks ago? And then Salvatore came up on my YouTube search, and I found his videos, and I was like, oh, you know, it's been a very interesting journey since. Yeah. Anyway. See, evil spirits, they try to steal my energy by using that type of thing, right? They try to. It's words. They're using words. Um, evil spirits will try to steal my power in any kind of way. And the thing about Christians, a Christian will say, "God grant me" or "God grant us." That's the thing. My name is Grant, so Christian praise. They're using my name, and there's that power. It's a power. There's a it's them using the right words. It becomes their blessing. But the fact is that most of the world doesn't care about me at all. Okay. Okay. So I'll do one more reading. Okay. Okay. The Hierophant. Okay. So a very tricky card, isn't it? I'm talking about Christianity. I'm talking about the church. I'm talking about God. Well, in the tarot deck, this is the card that although I suppose you could argue, so the Hierophant, the King of Swords, and the King of Cups, they represent me the most. King of Swords, King of Cups is basically, that's me. That is me. And then there's the Hierophant card, which is obviously, it's the name is taken from the Hierophant. Is the name of the high priest from the cult of Demeter, and obviously that has nothing to do with, you know what I'm saying? That's got nothing to do with Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's got what does that? Well, to say it has absolutely nothing to do with Jesus Christ would be with me. To say that has absolutely nothing to do with me, well, but it's a twisted idea. That's what it is. It's a twisted idea. Because if you manage to twist things, then people steal energy. That's the idea behind it. Yeah, that's what tarot is all about. And then we got the Nine of Coins again. So there's the Nine of Pentacles. Okay, so I'm someone who's by themselves. There's a woman there, right? I mean, that's what the Nine of Coins is, usually a woman. She's a female. My mom, who's dead, her name was Fee, right? See, the evil spirits like to pretend that I'm a woman, so that man chases after woman instead of chasing after God, me. And of course, that leaves me feeling, I'm left in a very dry place while people. So my misery is other people are being happy while I'm being miserable, basically. The evil spirits want me to suffer, and they want me to off myself, basically. Anyways, there's the Page of Potions, the Page of Cups. Okay, so that that's a Page of Cups is some look, he's looking mischievous. You know what I'm saying? He's out for he's out to get what he wants. Yeah, he's only interested in what he wants. He doesn't give a shit about other people's feelings. And then there's the Five of Coins. So the Five of Coins, is left out in the cold. These are people who don't go to church as well. It can be both. It can also mean losing all your money. Or, suffering financial hardship. That's how a lot of people see it. And then we got the Queen. Oh, the Empress. So this is the so this is the thing, right? So so this goes with everything that I'm saying, right? So the Hierophant, this is supposed to represent the religious institution of something, right? But it's an evil depiction. That's the thing. It's an evil depiction. It's a mixed. It's a twisted story. Then there's the Nine of Coins. Okay. So the Hierophant, is basically like the high priest. There's the Nine of Coins. Page of Cups. Five of Coins. The Empress. The Hierophant. Nine of Coins. Page of Cups. Five of Coins. The Empress. Yeah, so this is basically just saying what I've said, right? I'm God. I'm God. So that card, that's kind of what that's saying. I'm a Nine of Coins. I'm a Page of Cups. I mean, I've been left in such a... Well, this is the thing, right? I'm the King of Cups and I'm a Page of Cups. I'm both at the same time, really. Because people don't deserve my love. It's really that simple, right? I'm God. I loved people. They didn't love me. There's a lot of people, most people don't love me. They didn't love me, and they still don't love me, and I'm going to be a Page of Cups to them, right? I'm their Page of Cups. And then there's this, five of Coins, people being left out in the cold, not going to church. And then there's the Empress. So you can look at that in two different ways, right? The Empress, she doesn't like me, and I don't like her. There's the it talks about in the book of Revelation, it talks about the whore of Babylon, right? The whore of, it talks about, the woman, she sits as a queen proclaiming that her husband is dead while she sits a queen, right? Do you understand? So there's the queen, and she's like, Jesus Christ, he's dead. Don't need him. Let's fuck. Let's fuck a bunch of other guys instead. Yeah? That's the world. That's what the world is. And so I'm deprived. I'm God. I'm deprived. I'm left in a dry place. And so that means that the world you live in is getting destroyed. War. Yeah, that's a part of it. Yeah. Everything's falling apart. That's why. Because man wants Empress. He doesn't want God, he wants Empress. So that's it. That's really all I can say. Pull some more cards though. Oh, excuse me. It's so funny when tarot readers, they when I'm listening to them and I burp or I fart, and the comments that they make, like it was like they're talking out of my stomach. It's very bizarre. But that's the thing, right? Because if you listen to Salvatore, he talks about Cronus. He says God is Cronus, Saturn. And Saturn, he eats his children. That's what he thinks. So that's the thing, if I burp or fart, he thinks that he's talking through me. And so there's the 8 of coins. So the Empress is 8 of coins. Working. It's witchcraft. That is witchcraft. 8 of coins is all about dedication to the craft. And then we got the Queen of Swords. So the Empress, she is dedicated to putting the woman as the authority figure. So, that's the thing. The world, man has abandoned me, God. And he sees woman as his refuge, right? He finds his pretty woman. She gives him love, gives him sex, makes him feel happy. And, she wants to twist it. So, she wants the power. She wants to be worshipped in place of God, right? She wants, and this is the thing, Mary, that's what she's one of them, right? That's Mary in a nutshell. So that's the thing. Yeah. She's evil. I battle with Mary, basically. She was corrupted. She wanted power. She didn't want me. I mean, that's the thing, right? Because, I mentioned about the queen who sits on the throne and says that her husband's dead. Well, that's the thing, the sword, right? The Bible, the scriptures is called the sword, right? Queen of Swords, right? And then we got the Tower, okay? So, 8 of Pentacles, Queen of Swords, the Tower. So the Tower is all about, that's a destruction thing. It's also a sex magic thing. It's about destructive sex. It's about sodomy. It's about the penis. Death. So there's a Scorpio card. I'm Scorpio. So the death. So the Tower is the destruction. And that's the other thing about Salvatore, is that he likes to wear Tommy Hilfiger clothes, right? And sometimes he wears Timberland clothes. And the thing is that Mary, well, the woman who was the Virgin Mary, she was Aaliyah Dana Houghton, who died in the plane crash on August 25th, 2001, which was weeks before 9/11. That was a magic ritual that took place. And that was the same week I started at a boarding school called Charterhouse in England in September 2001. Interesting words, right? Boarding, charter, yeah. So Salvatore, he's a tarot reader. He likes to wear Tommy Hilfiger. Yeah. Like I've got Tommy Hilfiger. That's the brand Tommy Hilfiger. That's my eau de toilette. Yeah. So there's the Eight of Pentacles, Queen of Swords, the Tower, the Death card, and then we got the Four of Cups, and then there's the Sun. Two of Swords, Five of Wands. So this is the thing. So the Empress, Eight of Pentacles, dedication to craft. She's doing magic and shit. Queen of Swords, the Tower, Death. Four of Cups, the Sun. Two of Swords, Five of Wands. So, Queen of Swords, she wants to be the authority figure. There's this tower. This is causing death and destruction. Okay, there's the Death card, Scorpio card as well. Four of Cups is all about, it's all about it's self-serving disinterest. So if God's trying to have a relationship with you, God's offering you a cup of water and saying, can we have a relationship? Can we sort this out? Four of Cups is saying, I'm not interested. I don't care, God. Go away. And that's this, that's the world. The world is happy. That's what the Sun card means. It's talking about happiness. That's how it's interpreted. It's what you're attracted to. The Two of Swords, that's what it's all about. It's wearing the blindfold. It's saying, I'm not interested in the truth. I'm blocking the truth. I don't care about the truth. I want to have a magic competition. I want to have a battle. Five of Wands. This is what everybody, that's the world, right? They chose Mary. They chose the Empress. They chose Queen of Swords. They want to choose her instead of me. The bitch who sits on the throne. She wants to claim her husband is dead. And like I said, I'm a Scorpio, right? I'm born under the sign Scorpio, which in tarot, I'm associated with the Death card. So she says her husband's dead, Queen of Swords, or the Empress, or whoever this bitch is. She says, my husband's dead. I sit a queen by myself. Worship me. And that's what man does. That's what the Catholic Church is all about as well. I was hoping this video was going to go a bit differently. I didn't expect, I wasn't intending or expecting to have this conversation again. But here we go again. That's what's happened. And the thing is, all this competition that is happening, the world is in competition with me. It's hilarious. I listen to a tarot reader, and They're trying to have a magic battle with me, God. Now the thing is, I do it by myself. I'm God. I sit alone. Yeah. Whilst all these tarot readers, what do? Oh, they're all ganging up against me all at the same time. I get to fight all of them at the same time. Yeah. Obviously, it's would you call it a fair battle or an unfair battle? Well, I am God, so the thing is, I don't lose. That's the thing. How I win though is questionable. I mean, how does that? How I win is, could it be destruction of all life on Earth, or is there going to be a turning point? Is there going to be a point where people say, you know what, maybe we should stop going in the direction that we've been going and turn around, and maybe things get better. Maybe listening to God, listening to me would be a good idea, but whatever, right? I get bored talking about it. I've been saying it for years, and I might be saying it in another 4 years. Yeah, or how many? This. I don't know how long this will keep going for. All I know is that, well, I know that I'm not letting people get away with it. I don't let people get away with it. So yeah. One last reading? Yeah, go on then. I was only going to make a 10-minute video, but it turned out to be an hour long. Or longer. Yeah, it's annoying how that happens. The annoying thing is I have to wait for it to upload. I'm not talking about phlegm. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, okay. Okay, so we've got the Four of Wands. That's about community, society, doing what it does, right? I think it depicts, it's like some people, they look like they're out partying, having a happy time. And then there's the Two of Potions, Two of Cups. So Four of Wands, so it's community, society, relationships, right? It's people getting together. And then there's the Empress again. Yeah. And then there's the Temperance. So Temperance is alchemy. It can be talking about Archangel Michael, although obviously this card is, well, yeah. It's just a guy playing around with some potions by the looks of it. Judgment. Let you have a look at that. All right. Page of Swords. So a Page of Swords is someone who, the card represents people who are stupid, people who don't know the truth. I'm the King of Swords. But also, in a sense, I am the Page of Swords as well, I suppose you could say, because, well, have you ever read the Bible? It has pages in it. It's called the sword, right? The Bible, the scriptures, is called the sword, right? So, Page of Swords. So, this is the world has been fooled with magic to be stupid because it wants to be God. Do you understand how that works? See, if you're stupid, then you're a Page of Swords. And what did I say? What is a Page of Swords? Well, I told you what a Bible is, didn't I? Tarot comes from, evil spirits, like tarot. For them, it's a good way to twist. It's a way of twisting things. Four of Coins. So, that's someone who wants to hold on to... Oh, no, the Six of Coins. Six of Coins. So that's sharing. Okay? So, a Page of Swords, obviously, Facebook. I have my Facebook page. It's a Page of Swords, right? You could call that a Page of Swords, a Page of Wands, I suppose, as well. Mary doesn't like me to talk because she's a bitch. She's really getting on my nerves. Yeah. So, Page of Swords, Six of Coins. So that's about sharing. So, the Page of Swords is communicating. It's logic. It's, people who shit talk. They want to talk shit, right? They want to record a video, talk a load of shit, send it, everyone watches it, and they're like, yeah, that's probably what that's talking about, right? And then there's the Nine of Wands, right? So that's continuing. That's someone who has, well, it's just talks about continuing. That's basically what it's saying, right? It's just carrying on, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. And then there's the Ace of Wands, so that's, that can be talking about sodomy. It could be talking about passion and will. It's what you want to do. Yeah, you carry on. It's what you want to fucking do. Yeah. Four of Swords. Well, that's when you go lie in a bed, and that's where you fucking fuck. Yeah. And then there's the Eight of Cups, the Eight of Potions. So that's, well, I talked about sodomy, yeah. So, obviously, sodomy, you obviously don't want to, end up with a muddy stick, right? So, you wash out the hole, and, out comes what was ate, yeah, what was eaten, yeah, and then that's sodomy, right? Eight of Cups, it's you're not interested in water, it can mean many things, right? Eight of Cups, it can be Eight of Cups can mean you're a nasty person, right? You don't love. You're more like a machine than, you're more like a, you're well, you're not in touch with you're not in touch with water or emotions. And then there's the Ace of Swords. Okay, so that's the Ace of Swords. So that's communicating and logic, right? So Three of Swords. So there's the heartbreak. Because obviously, if you're communicating without any kind of love or emotion, if you're being harsh to somebody and you're telling them that you hate them and you think they're a fucking loser, and try to twist the story against them all the time, and try to if you're being someone's enemy, if you're attacking someone with your horrible words, with your Eight of Cups, Ace of Swords words, then, well, it causes heartbreak, right? And the cycle, that's the thing, right? You break someone's heart, what happens to them, right? I'm God, you break my heart, and then I turn into a monster. That's right, I turn into a monster. I turn into a monster. So when you see all the violence that happens, all the death that happens, that's what I'm talking about. When you switch on the news, you see a war happening. That's because of me. Because you made me the monster. You turned me into a monster. That's what you're doing. The only remedy to that is to love me. It's a really simple concept, isn't it? I mean, I'm God, I'm the way to life. That's literally all you need to know. Without me, all you're going to get is death and destruction. How many times have I explained that? I've got two cards here. Seven of Wands. So, here's a guy, he's been attacked by all these different wands. Yeah? Now, the Six of Wands, the Six of Wands, normally in the Rider-Waite deck, which is interesting because Six of Wands, which is also Salvatore Vecchio, the chosen 144 tarot guy, the Six of Wands is his favorite card. Now, the Six of Wands is guys riding horses, right? So it's a sex magic card because the idea of riding a horse, well, if you're having sex with a whore, that's kind of similar in terms of the words, to riding a horse. Yeah. And here's the Seven of Wands. Here's this guy. He's defending himself from the Six of Wands, right? So, my sex life, I don't have one, right? I'm not having, I haven't had sex for a long time, with a physical body, with a physical flesh body. Ghosts, well, that's a different matter, but if you know what I'm saying. Um, so, Seven of Wands, that's about standing up, defending, right? The Three of Swords, Seven of Wands, and then there's the Ace of Pentacles. Well, the Ace of Pentacles is a very awkward card to try to explain, really. People say, oh, it's a new beginning, it's a new start, or you're going to get, this is like some new thing coming in, or, you're going to get some material possessions or something, right? But obviously the pentacle, the whole point is, the world wants to trick you to think that my spirit is dirt, is ground, is soil, is shit, right? The pentacle, the pentagram, the five-pointed star, it represents earth, air, fire, water, and spirit, which is the fifth. They call it the fifth element. But the pentacle itself represents earth. So what you've tried to do is you try to put God, me, in dirt. That saying, being dragged through the mud. Yeah? Well, that's what the world wants to do to me. It wants to drag me through the mud and say, God is dirt, God is mud, God is soil, God is shit. Right? And then you want to talk about Mother Earth. Yeah, and your obsession with woman. Your obsession with the Empress, the Queen of Cups, the Queen of Swords. Yeah? Man doesn't know how to love, he only knows how to destroy. That kind of bullshit, yeah. Well, if that's true, that's the thing, right? The world, a lot of people in the world, especially the Western world, they look at men as more evil, and women are basically can do no wrong. So, they've elevated woman and said, female, you are so great. But that's the thing, I'm female. Because my dead mum, she was called Fee. I'm male, she was called Fee. I came out of her cunt, didn't I? See, she's an evil bitch. A cunt. There's another way of saying that, right? Yeah, you've heard of feces? Yeah, that looks like mud as well, yeah. And then we got the Knight of Wands. So the Knight of Wands. So there's the Seven of Wands, yeah. So I said the Three of Swords of the heartbreak because of the Eight of Cups, Ace of Swords. There's the people talking shit about me. Basically, people saying nasty things about me. They don't want to stop, and they want to make money doing it, right? They want to have, someone like Salvatore. He wants to make a lot of money. He wants to have 50,000. He's got more than 55,000 subscribers or more, right? And they love to hear bad shit being talked about me, right? It's the same with all the tarot readers who are on YouTube, right? That's what tarot readers, they badmouth me because they entered a domain that they're not supposed to be in, right? They're trying to break into the palace, aren't they? They're trying to break into the palace and try to pass themselves off as being the king. Or the emperor, yeah. So there's the Seven of Wands. I talked about the Six of Wands. He's defending himself from the Six of Wands, which is basically people fucking, thinking that their fucking is victory, right? And then there's the Ace of Pentacles. I told you all about the pentacle. When it all, I told you about the dirt and the mud and the shit and soil and the fifth element and the pentagram. Yeah, and then here's the Knight of Wands, right? So, the Knight of Wands, he wants to ride. Yeah, he's got a stick in his hand and he wants to ride. Yeah, and that's the thing, because in magic, the star, which is what you find on a pinnacle, yeah, the 5-pointed star, the star is also the anus, it's the arsehole. That's where mud comes out. Yeah, that's where shit comes out. It's shit, it's poo, it's feces. Yeah, and obviously you find a lot of that in mud and soil, don't you? Yeah. And then there's the Ten of Cups, the Ten of Potions. Now this is a really, so the Knight of Wands, here's the Ten of Cups. Now this is really, in this deck, it shows, the Ten of Cups is obviously supposed to be about happiness, right? This is lots of water, energy. But obviously in this deck, you got someone who's there who's really miserable. And there's, this miserable person is sitting beside this this big advert thing. There's the happy family. You see the guy, he's got his beard and he's got his vampire fangs. Yeah, he's got sharp teeth. He's got sharp sort of animal teeth. But so it's an interesting card in this deck because it shows someone who's actually really unhappy. They're probably like a homeless person or something. Or they're just feeling very unhappy. And then there's the contrast. There's people who are really happy. And then there's the Knight of Coins. So the Knight of Coins, so it's very similar to the Knight of Wands, really, except it's he's it's a rider. It's a rider. It's someone who likes to ride. It's going somewhere or having sex with, could be sodomy, could be, or, maybe he's off to try to make money, or he's going off to give money, which is less likely. It's probably more about him wanting to make money or have sex. And then there's the Queen of Swords, yeah, the woman who wants to play the authority figure. Yeah. You see, man, the situation these days, when I was younger, when I was in my mid-20s, I had a girlfriend. I lived with her for a year. Her name was Ania Bilak. She was from Poland. When I separated from her, because, well, there were many, it's she's a witch, that's why. She's a witch. And she was no fun to be with. But, the thing is after I broke up with her, the country I live in, left the European Union. Yeah, left the European Union. And then, lots of people are arguing about how things are between men and women. Women want things their way and men want things their way, and obviously there's the people who are in between. And but really, how it is these days, most women, they think that women should be the authority figure because nobody needs God anymore. They think, well, we don't believe in God, we don't need God. Who's God anyway? Why can't women be in charge for now? Why can't women, for the first time in history, why can't a woman be the one who's in charge? Basically, right? And that's the reason why. Well, obviously, when I was in my mid-20s, I stopped looking for relationships pretty much because I just couldn't see it as possible. I just thought I'm incompatible. I looked at all these women and I just thought I can't be with you because I might look at you and might think, okay, you're beautiful, you're pretty, but I can't trust her. I can't trust her. She has ulterior motives. You know, she wants power. She wants power, and she's manipulative. And I will get my heart broken. So, you know, it's been about 12 years since I've had a girlfriend. And I won't, you know, that is not going to change. The only time, if I ever get with another woman, well, it's going to be with the understanding that I am God. That is the only way. And it's the same with friends as well. I won't have a single friend. I won't have one friend unless they understand that one crucial fact, that I am God. They can't accept that. It ain't happening. So, and that is how it's going to be. And if that's how it has to be until the day I die, then so be it. Okay, so we got so after the Queen of Swords, we have the Seven of Swords. So this is about someone stealing. Okay, there's the sneaky figure, and it looks like a her, but she's stealing swords. All right, she's sneaky, she's stealing. There's deception. And then there's the Two of Swords. The Two of Swords is all about blocking. This is a stalemate. It's avoiding the truth. This is the world. The Two of Swords. The Two of Swords. It's all about saying, I don't want to know God. I don't love God. I don't trust God. I am opposite to God. You know, these are the people who want to pretend that they are God whilst denying God. You know, they behave, they act in such a way that they're, you know, this is the thing, right? Because, you know, guys who have sex with lots of women, or women who sleep, or, you know, people who are having lots of sex and partying and basically just saying, I will do whatever I want to do, and I'll do that because I'm in charge. That is very similar to saying that you are God. And, you know, they don't want to know the truth. And so they die. They will be destroyed. Because that is the Two of Swords is the path to destruction. Or it is a path. It is essentially the path to destruction. I mean, I think that card probably says it better than any other card in the tarot. That's where it leads to. The Two of Swords. People who are in that frame of mind, that's where they go. Destruction. I mean, obviously the card can be interpreted in slightly different ways. Anyway. And then there's the Wheel of Fortune card. I don't do reversal cards. I don't do reversal cards. Most tarot readers do. Well, that's the thing. Anyway, the Two of Swords, and then there's the Wheel of Fortune. So, you know, there's the Two of Swords, right? It's all about saying, you know, these are people who don't like me. You know, they want to block. And, you know, this is to do with fate and destiny. The Wheel of Fortune. So I'll tell you what, actually, I'll do a quick recap. So we got the Four of Wands. So there's the society, community. Two of Cups. You know, people who are, you know, it's talking about relationships, sex. The Empress, which is an interesting word because obviously the M looks like a butt, and if you press it, well, you're basically doing sodomy, aren't you? That's what sodomy is. It's empressing, isn't it? Butt pressing. And then there's the Temperance card, you know, Sagittarius, alchemy, judgment. You know, this can mean, this is people making judgments, or it could be, there's some sort of judgment happening. Yeah, not hard. You know, Page of Swords. So these people are stupid. That's probably what it's saying. That's what it's saying in this reading. They're stupid, right? And then they share their garbage. They share their stupid ideas. And they keep going with it. Yeah, Nine of Wands. They don't ever want to stop. And then there's the Ace of Wands. They want, this is about sodomy. Because it's a stick of fire. The ace, if you look in like different languages like Italian and I think it's French, it's literally spelled A-S-S, ass or asso, ace, ass of wand, yeah, stick of fire, yeah, that's what it is. Four of Swords, that's lying down, getting in your bed. Eight of Cups. This is more magic. It's magic. Eight of Cups, Ace of Swords. You see that sword? It's going through that hole. It looks like a butthole. And then there's the Three of Swords. People talking shit. They're trying to break my heart. And then, here's Seven of Wands, and he's trying to protect himself from these people who all they want to do is fuck all day long. Ace of Pentacles, Knight of Wands, so sodomite, a sex magician, Ten of Cups, Mr. Happy, he's off to make some money. Knight of Coins, yeah, or he's having sex with Queen of Swords, yeah, he worships the Queen of Swords. He wants her. A man is very happy. There's so many men. They're very happy to trade it all just for some sex. They're happy just to say, well, if I can have sex with her, I'll let her have anything she wants, as long as she, she gives me the sex I want. That's man in a nutshell, isn't it? You know the story of Adam and Eve, yeah. So Queen of Swords, Seven of Swords, deception, betrayal. Two of Swords, yeah, so this is getting in the way, it's blocking. In magic, so obviously a shit is a number two, isn't it? What I said, talking, trying to drag God through the mud, right? Two of Swords, swords have to do with logic and, thinking and communication, right? Shit talking. And then, Wheel of Fortune, this is all about trying to create, it's all about trying to steal God's destiny. It's all about trying to say, you know what, there's God's bed. Oh, that's my bed, actually. I'll sleep in that. I'll have all the sex I want to have because I'm good. Yeah, I'll do whatever I want because I'm in charge. God, I must be good then. Yeah, that's the idea. That's what the world is like. Okay, and that will lead to destruction. So I thought I'd do a reading for Salvatore Vecchio, the tarot reader who has the YouTube channel Chosen 144. He's the Australian guy who likes to say things like, I fucking love you, spirit. I fucking love you, fam. This is the thing, right? Because his wife, she also has a channel called Light 144, right? And he talks about his fucking wife and how she's fucking beautiful, and I fucking love you, spirit. And then That's the thing. So basically, what he's trying to do, and that's the thing, I am the son of a woman called Fee. So in a sense, in a strange sort of way, I get labeled as female. So, he wants to have his wife, say she's light 144 and he wants to have sex with her, right? And then he wants to go do his tarot readings and say, I fucking love you, spirit. That is witchcraft. That is evil witchcraft that he is doing against me. And he will pay a heavy price for doing such a thing. So I'm rolling my cigarette, and then I will do a reading for Salvatore Vecchio. Was it Vecchio? Vecchio? Salvatore Vecchio, or Vecchio. Okay, so let's do it. A reading for Salvatore Vecchio. Got my Harry Potter t-shirt on today. Yeah. Anyway, Salvatore Vecchio. Let's have a reading for Salvatore Vecchio, the Australian guy. I just dropped like 8 cards. Something like that. Anyway, look. There we go. Okay, so 3 of cups. So 3 of potions. So people having a laugh, having fun. Yeah, having a good time. And then there's the moon. So obviously the moon card is the interest, the moon, it reflects the sun. I'm God, I am the light. The moon reflects my light. So here's some people having a great time, partying. The moon. Yeah, they reflect the light of God. Me. They are the false light. This is what this is saying, right? People partying, and the moon is, this is, Salvatore Vecchio, he wants to pretend that he's God. He's in moon energy. And then there's the Ace of Potions, or Ace of Cups. So, that can mean many things. So, it's another sex magic thing, because, people who do anal sex, well, the ace, is ass. It can mean ass, right? And potion, putting water into the ass, that's called a douche or an enema. Yeah? It's a sex magic thing. I mean, it can also mean different things, right? Ace of Cups. It can mean new feelings. It can mean new emotions. Anyway, the Hermit. So the Hermit, as you can see there, he sits in front of his computer all day long. That's me. That's me. But it's a very tricky word, isn't it? I mean, look, read the word. The Hermit. Yeah? You know, that's the thing, right? Because Salvatore Vecchio, he has a wife, right? You know, between his legs. You know, she might say that's her meat. Yeah? Her piece of meat is what's between his legs. Yeah? Well, I sit here all day in front of a computer. And then there's the Chariot. So there's the Ace of Cups, the Hermit, the Chariot, Queen of Swords, fuck. And then we got the Six of Wands, which is his favorite card. You know, that's all about sex. And, you know, it's sex and it's victory. It's a mixed idea, right? Because people will like, the world would like to think it can fuck its way to victory. How convenient, huh? Fucking your way to victory. So the Three of Cups, the Moon, Ace of Cups, the Hermit, the Chariot, Queen of Swords, Six of Wands. So, you know, like I said, the Hermit, well, I told you about the word the Hermit, Hermit. But also, you know, the idea of the Hermit is that he enters into his cave to get closer to spirits. But also the anus, the colon. Yeah? You know what a cave is, right? Well, you know, if you go into a mine to dig out coal, yeah, like, or you know what a colon is, a colon, right? Entering into the cave, yeah. You know, it's all about trying to, you know, it's getting close to the mud. That's what it is. It's getting close to the mud, pretending God is the mud. Yeah, in the bed, in the chariot, going for a ride. Yeah, with the Queen of Swords. Yeah. Six of Wands. Yeah, victory, sex victory. You know, he's a sex magician. That's what he is. And then we got the Page of Coins, which is what he would be, I guess. He probably doesn't have a lot of money. So Six of Wands, Page of Coins, you know, that would be Salvatore Vecchio and his missus, his wife. Page of Coins, Page of Swords, Page of Wands, Page of Cups. Yeah, all that, yep. Okay, and then we got the Three of Swords. So there's the heartbreak. Yeah, so who's heartbroken? Who is, yeah. Page of Coins, Three of Swords, and then we got the Queen of Cups. The Queen of Cups. And then there's the Seven of Pentacles, which is working. So, that's doing labor. So I think, this is the thing, because they're sex magicians, people want to do things like bondage sex, BDSM, where she's suffering, it's all about turn on. It's all about, it's a fantasy thing, isn't it? So, it's all about trying to play that game of, it's a sexual desire thing, isn't it? And, it's all about, it's energy stealing. You see, they want to pretend that they're suffering, right? They want to pretend that, they're going through the heartbreak, because it's all about absorbing that energy, because they're energy vampires. I mean, imagine seeing someone who's on the street, they're homeless, they're miserable, they're unhappy, and you, the vampire, walk along to them and just think, you know what, let's suck all the energy out of this person as much as I can until they're totally fucking dead. That's the kind of person that Salvatore Vecchio is. Yeah, that's what he is. It's all about absorb power, absorb power, absorb power, absorb power. I mean, listen to how he talks. You gotta raise your frequency. You gotta raise your frequency. All the stuff he posts on Facebook, all the stuff that he posts online. It's all aimed at absorbing energy. He's trying to harvest as much energy for himself as possible, because he wants to live a life of bliss and ignorance. He's only interested in harvesting energy. He's only interested in stealing as much energy as he can. By being a magic practitioner. And there are many other people in this world who are just like him. I mean, that's basically what the world does in varying degrees. It's just that some are more skilled at doing it than others. And then there's the Two of Wands. So obviously I said, number 2 is a poo, right? It's Two of Wands. It can mean planning. It can mean sodomy. And also in the Rider-Waite deck, the Two of Wands guy, he holds the world in his hand. He has like a globe in his hand, in one of his hands. Like he controls the world. It's about dominance. It's planning to conquer. Yeah. And then there's Judgment. So if you see, you can see, it's someone, you see that guy, he's talking into a megaphone. He wants to voice his opinions, his judgment, right? He's making his judgment, he's decided what he wants to think, right? He's made up his mind. Yeah. He wants to yap. Talking shit. The Two of Swords, Eight of Cups, Ace of Swords. Yeah. Whoa. The Sun fell out there. So, that's happiness. It represents what makes you happy, and it represents the sun. Because that's what it's called, yeah? The sun, S-U-N. And then there's the Queen of Wands. So this is the thing, right? So, it's saying, this is what, so, it says Judgment, the Sun, Queen of Wands. So, I explained, he's doing sex magic, yeah? So, party man wants to be in moon energy, yeah? He's obsessed with anal sex, he's obsessed with moon, he's doing moon magic, sex magic, he wants to reflect the light of God. Why do you think Sodom and Gomorrah got destroyed? Yeah? People who do sex magic, I don't like them because they're doing magic, witchcraft against me. They're trying to destroy me, so I destroy them. That's why they get destroyed, because they were trying to destroy me first. Remember what Jesus said? Jesus says, the world hated me first. Ace of Cups. So, there's sex magic, enemas, douching, probably. The man wants to enter his cave, get closer to the mud. Yeah, gets in his bed for a ride. Yeah, with his Queen of Swords. His woman, he thinks, he wants to treat her like she's the authority figure. And she gives him all the sex he wants. He wants to have sex with her. Comes out feeling like he's he's victorious from having all that sex. Yeah, he's a page of coins. Three of Swords, Queen of Cups. Because obviously the Ace of Cups, the Queen of Cups. She's had her butt washed out. So now she's a Queen of Cups. Seven of Pentacles, Two of Wands. So this is the thing, because I'm God, and I'm the one who's being attacked. I'm the one who should be, I'm the one with the broken heart, but I'm the one who's having mental problems because the world won't give me what I need or what I want, right? What I desire. And people mimic me. They want to pretend that they're the ones having the mental problems. They're the ones who are being victimized. They're the ones who's having a mental breakdown. Yeah, and then, they want to do it through sex magic and all kinds of ways. Someone wakes up one day and just says, you know what, today I feel depressed. I don't know why. I have no reason why. I can tell you possibly why, what caused my depression, but I just feel depressed. That's because I'm the one who's depressed. I'm God, and everyone wants, billions of people like to think they're me when they're not. And they'll mimic me by just copying me. But then they can't explain why they do what they do. How do you think, things like school shootings happen, or, wars happen, and, and violence and rape and murder, and, why does that all happen? Because people think they're me. And they want to, they simply just do without thinking. They pick up, they copy my feeling, and then they go do something, and a lot of the, and that can become something that happens that's very, very crazy. So, what's happening between Salvatore and his wife? Well, they're doing a bunch of sex magic, partying, moon magic, sex magic, pretending that they're, Three of Swords, Heartbreak, Queen of Cups, Seven of Pentacles working, Two of Wands. And then there's the Judgment, so the Judgment, it says here, the Sun, what makes him happy is a Queen of Wands, so she's the Queen of Fire, she likes the stick of fire, yeah? She's a woman, she likes to sit on a cook, basically. That's Salvatore's Sun, that's what makes him happy, that's why in all his videos he says, I fucking love you, Spirit. That's why he says it. And that's probably why, out of all the tarot readers, he's very unique in that sense, right? He's very unique because you do not, it's very, I don't know any other tarot readers who say in almost every single video, I fucking love you, Spirit. So, yeah. So, the Sun, Queen of Wands. Let's get some more cards. This video will be as long as it needs to be. And then we got the Queen of Coins. So, Queen of Coins, well, she's a woman. She sort of represents the idea of Mother Earth. She's a queen, made of dirt. Yeah. Money, dirt. Eight of Wands. I've already explained what that means, but you know what it means. 8. Yeah? What you ate. It comes out of your arse. And a stick is a stick of fire, yeah? And it could also mean moving quickly towards. And then we got the Magician. So 8 of Wands, the Magician. Right? So you could sum up Salvatore Vecchio in these 4 cards. The Sun, what makes him happy? Queen, oh. Did I drop a card? Wait, hang on. Oh no, it's there. His happiness is a woman who's sexy, full of passion. She wants to have sex. Yeah, Queen of Dirt. 8 of Wands. That could be potentially sex magic. And here's the Magician. Alright, so it's all about sex and sex magic. Sex, 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 and sex magic. And that's the thing. He doesn't love me, God. He wants to call himself Chosen 144. And he has a wife he calls Light 144 who he fucks. And then he comes onto his videos and says, I fucking love you, Spirit. I fucking love you. I mean, he couldn't get any crazier. Really, could it? And he has 55,000 subscribers. Yeah. He's got more than that. The Star. So 8 of Wands, the Magician, the Star. So that's the thing, he wants to be the star. He wants to be a star on YouTube, right? He wants everyone to know him. He wants to be a star. He wants to shine. And then there's 9 of Swords. So that could be talking about someone, someone lying in a bed. They're having nightmares. And that's the thing, right? Because, that's the thing, right? The word nightmare, well, that's the thing, right? A mare is a horse or a whore. You can twist the words to make it sound like a female whore. A whore, yeah, something you ride at night time. Yeah, it's, the 9 of Swords depicts someone in a bed in the Rider-Waite deck. It's not very clear in this deck. It's just someone holding their hands on their eyes. They look upset. They look unhappy. Um, so, there's the star. So there's the Nine of Swords. And then there's the Seven of Swords. So that's, deception, betrayal. And then there's the Eight of Coins. That's all about dedication to craft. Witchcraft. That's a person who wants to make money and power. It's all about trying to make. It's dedication to craft. And then we got the Three of Wands. So that can be another sodomy card. It's setting out to do something. Obviously, a number 3 does actually look like an arse, if you hadn't noticed. And then here's the High Priestess. So, here's this bitch, sitting in a temple. She wants to think she has something to do with God, probably smokes a load of weed and does a lot of BJs. And that's what people like to call intuition, right? And she's represented by the number 2, which is also what comes out of my arsehole. And that's what we call intuition. Intuition. Yeah, shit. Shit intuition. Yeah, the High Priestess. Smoke loads of weed, talk loads of shit, pretend you're God, until the day you get completely fucking destroyed. And then there's the Knight of Cups. Yeah, someone wants to have a ride. It could be making, wanting, going to someone, you're like, hey, I want to have some love with you, or want to have some sex, or maybe you just want to pour some water in their butt, and then stick your wand in there. Do a bit of sodomy, sex magic. And then there's the King of Cups. It's a very interesting card, this one, because it's what it looks like a woman sitting on what looks like a giant crab. But anyways, whatever, right? I mean, this is another thing which is really tricky about tarot, because obviously the King of Cups, has got that s on the end of it, right? Because the King of Cups, well, actually, he only holds 1 cup. He doesn't hold 2 cups or 3 cups or 4 cups or 10 cups or 100 cups. He holds 1 fucking cup. 1 cup, right? That's what the King of Cups does. He holds 1 cup. So why the fuck is he called King of Cups? See, it's a magic trick, is what it is. But yeah, Salvatore and his wife, Light 144, he's doing sex magic with a woman who is pretending she is God, basically, because I'm female. Because, well, I'm male, but I was born out of a bitch called Fiona. She's dead. Oh, guess why she's dead? Yeah. Take a long, hard guess. So, this is the thing. He's doing sex magic. See, this is the thing. People, they get in relationships and they try to pretend they're having a relationship with God. For instance, I have an aunt and uncle. My uncle is called Donald Neal, and he married his wife, who is my aunt. And her name is Christine Neal. Her maiden name is Reed. Like how you read a fucking book. So Donald means ruler. And Christine, well, the word Christ is in the name Christine. You combine those two words together, what do you get? You get Christ rules, don't you? Basically, don't you? Donald and Christine. Yeah, Washington, D.C. Yeah, Donald Trump. Yeah, D.C., Donald, Christine. Yeah. This is why people do things that they do, because it's all about they're attracted to my power, and they're attracted to mimicking me, because that brings them joy and happiness. Now, why would Salvatore Vecchio call his wife Light 144 and do all kinds of sex magic with her? And all kinds of magic. Yeah, all types of magic. Why? Why does he call himself Chosen 144? Yeah, what's he got to do with me, God? He doesn't love Jesus. He calls that bullshit. Yet, at the same time, what's he doing? I've listened to a lot of his videos. There was one video he did a personal reading for a woman called Eva, and he was wearing a shirt that looked like a snake. The shirt he was wearing was the pattern on it was very snake-like. It was very, and it's very interesting. And in that video, he actually said, "I'm not Chosen 144." He said, "Hi there, I'm Chosen 144." No, I'm not. I'm only fucking joking. And he said that in a personal reading to a woman called Eva, which he made public because he felt he should. So, this is the thing, right? Because Salvatore Vecchio, he's having sex with his wife, who's called, that she's called, well, I don't know her real name, but she is called Light 144. Well, that's the thing. I'm Light 144. I'm the one who chooses the 144,000. I'm God. So basically what Salvatore Vecchio is saying is that he's fucking God. He has a relationship with God. I fucking love you, spirit. He's a witch, and he will get absolutely destroyed by me. Whether it happens today, or tomorrow, or next week, or next month, or in 20 years' time, or 100 years, well, probably not 100 years, but whenever it's going to happen. He's a perfect example of how evil the world is. He wants, as a person, he doesn't want to have a relationship with God, but he wants to pretend he has a relationship with God while saying he hates God, while he's saying he hates me. He wants to make a false God. He wants to worship something that is false. He's only interested in power. That's why there's so many evil people who go to places that they call churches, right? Think about it. Why do those people go into churches? Because a lot of them are interested in power. They find power, energy in lots of different ways, in lots of different places. Some might go the church route. They might go that way, or they might go down and do witchcraft, or basically just talking a load of shit and wanting to be a star, or worshipping celebrities, false idols. That's what the world does. So yeah. Anyway, I think I'm done with this video. How about a closing message? A closing message for this video. Before I go, let's give us a nice shuffle. Actually, no, I'll take this card. So we got the Strength card. So this is about, what is the Strength card about? Well, if you know what the equivalent to this card is in the Aleister Crowley deck, the Thoth deck, it is the Lust card. Okay, so the Strength card, it might talk about strength, because the word strength is actually there. And what it really means is, the main idea behind this card is lust. And that's the thing, it's a card that's associated to the zodiac sign Leo. And Leo is associated with the Sun card. So, the idea of lust and light are combined in the tarot deck. So, basically the tarot deck is saying that the sun, the life-giving sun, the light of the world, is actually lust. It's sex. That's what it's all about. Now, that's evil for people to go about, for the people who try to go down that path. That will get them killed. They will be dead. Because that's the path of destruction. You want to play that game with God, well, you're going to get fucking destroyed. My name's Grant. Yeah, you see the tiger. Yeah. Bondage sex, anybody? Yeah. See, this is a really tricky card, because I'm God. I was Jesus Christ, the Lion of the tribe of Judah. And obviously, typically, the Strength card usually depicts a lion. And so, this is the thing. Every relationship I've had with a woman, I'm the lion. And whenever I've got into bed with a woman, she's tried to walk away with this energy. She's tried to walk away with me with this lust sun energy, and trying to leave me in total darkness. And demons have conspired to try to achieve that. And I'm left fighting a magic battle. Telling people who I am and what the consequences are for not listening to me. And then we have the Ten of Wands. So this suggests, the Ten of Wands is all about extreme exhaustion. There's that bird, that crow or raven or something in front of a keyboard, totally exhausted. It can also be talking about sex, because sex, like hardcore sex is Ten of Wands. It's lots of fire, it's lots of fucking. Yeah, Ten of Wands. That's quite an interesting thing there, actually, because you can see there's all those candlesticks. Those are in trading. So, and if you've ever looked at a chart of trading, something like Bitcoin or whatever, right? You might recognize those are candlesticks. So this makes this look like someone's trying to make some money, but totally exhausted from working. And this is the thing, right? Because I'm God, I'm the one who's totally exhausted. But, people try to mimic, they're trying to pretend they're me by doing things like hardcore sex. Yeah, their Ten of Wands is actually what they enjoy. They enjoy it because it's hardcore sex and they love it. And meanwhile, God gets to be totally exhausted. While all these witches want to try to steal his energy. I know I'm talking about myself in the third person, but whatever. So there's that. This is talking about lust. For fuck's sake. And then we have the Lovers. So what was I talking about? Yeah, I was talking about hardcore sex. Lust, hardcore sex, and there's the Lovers card. Okay? And then there's the Eight of Cups. So I could be talking about enemas, douching. It could be talking about it's sex without emotion, without love, without caring. It's carelessness, right? And then there's the Two of Pentacles. So that's juggling, mixing, sleeping around, wanting to have lots of sexual partners. And then there's the Six of Swords, which is the moving on card. Yeah, it's all about moving from one place to another. Yeah, moving on. Go have some hardcore sex with somebody, do all kinds of sex magic with them, and then say, you know what, I'm moving on, I'm going to go somewhere else, I want to fuck somebody else. Yeah, that's what Two of Pentacles do. You know what I mean? And there's the Ace of Pentacles, the Six of Swords, Ace of Pentacles. So it could be an arsehole, or it could be, trying to make money, doing, looking for a new piece of ass. Yeah, looking for another butt star. And then there's the Eight of Wands, moving quickly towards or doing sodomy. or both. You know, Jesus says, "Behold, I come quickly." So this card, it combines two ideas: sodomy and going quickly, coming quickly. And I think, you know, the Eight of Wands is the only card in the tarot deck. It doesn't actually depict anyone. In the Rider-Waite deck, it just shows 8 wands. There's no man, there's no woman, there's nobody there. And then there's the 6 of coins, so there's sharing. Perhaps giving money to charity, probably not, but you know, it's sharing. And then there's the Magician. The Hanged Man. So this is the thing, right? Jesus Christ, yeah? So here's something that represents the cross, yeah? You know, the cross. You know, Jesus was crucified on a cross, right? Hung on a cross. The Hanged Man. You know, this is another sodomy card. And it also means, you know, if you hang around with a bunch of people, that's called hanging around them, right? You're the hanged man. Or, you know, that's the thing. I'm a hermit. I don't hang with anybody. I don't want to be with anybody. You know, he's got his foot stuck in a noose. Anus. It's another sex magic card. If you don't know how the crucifixion of Jesus is associated with Egypt and Sodom, and how that's connected with BDSM and sodomy. Well, if you don't know that, you're a fucking moron. You're a cunt. A useless cunt. A stupid cunt. So one card here, please. Or, well, yeah, whatever. Just give me something. Hang on a second. Hang on a second. Getting a little impatient because, well, this video's been going on a long time. One card, here we go. 4 of Cups. So the Hangman, the Magician, the Hangman, 4 of Cups. You know, self-serving, disinterest. That's the world in a nutshell. You know, the world doesn't want to know God. The world hates God. The world has self-serving disinterest when it comes to God. Me. And then we've got the 7 of Cups. So, you know, this is, you know, the 7 of Cups, it represents, you know, normally it's a cloud with cups on it. You know, someone's looking at it. You know, they're looking in the clouds. You know, they want to, you know, maybe it's the tarot, you know, like a tarot reader. You know, they want to break into the palace and in the sky. You want to have a look around, see all the different cups, and be like, ooh, what's all this? Let's have a look around and go to bed. See what we can find. Anyway, the 7 of Cups, you know, it can mean lots of options. It can mean sexual fantasy. That's a lot of the time. That's mostly what it talks about, is sexual fantasy. I mean, the number 7 is associated with the Chariot, which is the bed. It's where the fucking happens. Yeah, and the Cups, well, that's to do with love and emotions. And I guess it means water and enemas and douching as well. Sexual fantasies. And it's also, the 7 of Cups is also confusion as well. Because, you know, the guy's looking at all the cups and he doesn't know what to pick. You know, there's all these different choices, and he's like, well, I don't know. I'm confused. I can't make a decision. I'm struggling. For fuck's sake, you cunt. And then there's the Queen of Coins. Yeah, the whore who sits on the throne. Thinks she doesn't need God. She wants to be God and be a whore. An evil fucking whore. And then there's the world. The world, yeah. Queen of Pentacles, the Queen of Dirt, the Queen of Trash, the Queen of Shit, the Queen of Mud, the world. But you like to go Mother Earth. Or Gaia. Yeah, Gaia. Maybe she grew a dick between her legs, huh? And then there's the Temperance. Yeah, alchemy, doing magic. Yeah. Whatever for, huh? And then there's the Ten of Pentacles, yeah? Money, materialism, mud, shit, soil, the sun. You see, someone loves, their light. What makes them so fucking happy is materialism. Now, the pentacle, if you don't know what a pentacle looks like, well, here's a card. It says here the Nine of Pentacles, right? You can see there's a pentacle. There's 9 of them. It's got a 5-pointed star in it. Yeah. Well, you know what the sun looks like. Yeah, the sun. It's a star. Yeah. So you want to make the star the dirt, the soil. I mean, imagine for a second that the sun in the sky, that keeps the planet warm, supports all life on this planet. Imagine if it was made of shit or soil or mud or someone's digested food or something like that. You know what I mean? Just it wasn't fire anymore. It was just a big brown bowl. How would that work? Well, would that work for you? Is that gonna keep you alive? No. See, that's the thing, right? Because the sun, I mean, obviously, it is made of a certain type of material, right? But it's the light that comes from it. Jesus said, "I am the light of the world." The world loves darkness. It sees light as darkness. You see, Salvatore Vecchio, what he thinks is light is darkness. What he thinks is good is evil. See, the thing is, I'm God. I don't have to play by anybody's rules. I make them. I choose what I want to do. And if this is the thing. I will be the monster. Yeah? I'm gonna be the monster. I mean, what else would you expect? If God looks at the world, he sees are enemies, then what is God supposed to do? Destroy. Yeah. That's really all there is left. That's all there is to do, is destroy people. That's it. So, going through this reading again. Lust, sex magicians, yeah, hardcore sex, lust, the lovers, Eight of Cups, you know, sodomy, bondage, uncaring, you know, not interested in, you know, people want to eat dirt. They don't want water. People want to swim in the dirt. Two of Pentacles, sleeping around, fornication, that sort of thing, mixing things you're not supposed to mix. Six of Swords, moving on. Ace of Pentacles, you know, looking for money or butts, asses. Eight of Wands, moving quickly towards sharing. Magic, magician, pretending you were the one who was crucified. Yeah, so this is the idea behind the Hanged Man card. You know, it's about, and this is the thing, right? Because in the Hermetic Tarot, the Hanged Man is the title of it. It's like, you know, it has, you know, the Hanged Man is associated with, you know, has a lot of, you know, it has a very powerful association with water. Yeah, so Jesus is called the fountain of living waters. Well, why do you think certain people want to do? They want to pretend they're Jesus Christ. They want to pretend they were the one who's crucified. They want to do sex magic, sodomy, you know, Sodom and Egypt shit. Yeah, Sodom and Egypt, Sodom and Egypt, Sodom and Egypt. You can't get that through your thick skull, can you? Because you're a demon. Clearly. See, they want to have power. They want water power. That's what it's about. It's about trying to have magic water power. You know, to get people to command their emotions, you know, so they fall in love with you, they think you're great, give you, you know, they want to, all that shit. Yeah. And then there's the Four of Cups, self-serving disinterest. Seven of Cups, you know, people were more interested in their sexual fantasies. Yeah, Queen of Coins. The Queen of Dirt. Yeah, the world. The big pile of shit. Yeah, they want to do their magic. You know, they're interested, you know, they want their 10 of Coins. It's all about materialism. Money, money, money. They want to have it all. You know, the family, the friends, the status, the money, the sex, sexual fantasies, happiness. So, there you go. That's Salvatore Vecchio. I told you that was his reading, wasn't it? Yeah, I'll leave it there.